12th, I think. Preparing, and then I have to shut down something so we don't lose the sound again, whatever that is. Give me 1 second.
It's the web. Once you have the app open, then you shut the browser down. It's the web. Once you have the app open, then you shut the browser down. Let me walk over.
I think I got it.
Got it? I don't hear the echoing. Audio, video.
Well, it's just the browser.
Is anybody on there?
I'll try to pay attention to the play if I see it. Weird. And we're so happy to have it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's because of the rain. I had it now.
What do you need rain?
So we will call the meeting to order. 6:07. Full board attendance. No public.
You should have April 16th meeting minutes as a 3-pager because I also attached the correspondence that went to Fair Energy Resources Group.
Oh, good.
What we received with the last meeting. There's one here, Min and Daniel and I voted agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to address the select board members yet. I've tried that before, and I'm already. See if we can give a listen. They're scared about the legal review of all the ordinances.
Right. Before we get to that detail,
Mhm.
let's go through it's the April 16th meeting minutes.
That's what it's.
Okay.
So you next.
Something so.
All in favor? Second.
I did send a note to Aaron late today asking him to please copy the permit log and put it in on a table. If it was still here, if it's too late today, you can do it tomorrow and see it in our box so that it'll be there for our next meeting.
Yeah. So we can assume there wasn't any comments.
Well, we can assume we don't have it. There isn't any.
That- Yeah.
So on the next step in order in progress, right, that's where you've not had a chance to talk.
Right.
I think from the conversation we had, at one point people said,
That'll wake you up.
we need to like go ahead and like push to get those on the vote this time, and then I think we kind of worked our way around to the conclusion that. We can just wait till the next fiscal year, no matter what. We're just not gonna push it because we've got other things to do.
Yeah, and it's only like a month before we get that funding to actually really review.
Well,
That's.
again, I don't
that's-
know how much funding they put in that budget, we'll have to look at the budget.
Right.
I think we have a lot more legal stuff next year with the comp plan, but it's stuff to do.
Yep.
That's something we could suggest that. Well, yeah, we'll see what it is. I think it's a case of thinking your balance, and I don't get that.
That's the thought.
It's too late to get them done. We would have started the petition process a couple weeks ago, I think that.
It's okay, after the fiscal year, new fiscal year then. Okay. It's starting fresh. At that point. For the ordinances that are done. Can we try to talk or have a meeting with. The select board members and say, these are not new, I mean, I understand if it's a new ordinance. But it would probably have to go to legal review. You may have missed something, I mean, I get it. But if it's an ordinance that was already in existence. And we're just updating certain things on it. I don't see the need on those to go through review. Is there a way to approach them at that point?
Certainly, I mean, we've sent all the ordinances with. The chart that says this ordinance we think is minimal risk because of this, and here's where the only changes, they've got that information. They had not, the last meeting they had, they did not come to review it prior to that meeting. So then they missed a meeting because of not having quorum. Their next meeting is next week, so that's when it'll be on your agenda next time.
Okay.
But
Well, maybe I'll take a look.
Yeah, yeah. I'll try to.
This was only benefiting the town, so.
Are they on Thursdays as well?
sorry,
Are they on Thursdays as well?
yeah, we're first and third and fourth.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to attend.
What is the next step if? Nothing is done.
Well, the last comments we had were, there's no money in the budget to send this week. Okay, wait for the next fiscal year, so we can, if they say they don't agree to advance them without legal review or any of them. Which some only had one or two words changed, but if they choose not to do that, then come the first select board meeting in July. We can put the same question to the new select board, because there will be some new options at that point. And they can consider it, either send it to legal, and I would suggest perhaps that we should suggest some guidelines that we give legal, because I think what we found last year was nobody said, we need a $300 review, and we got back $3,000 review, for example, right? So could we give our lawyers some guidelines as to how much we want them to do?
So who, okay.
But right now, the only people that can communicate with the lawyers is the chairman of the select board. Because that was a policy that got put in place 2 years ago. Otherwise, we were talking directly to the lawyers and put that. We rerouted that conversation so that.
Are there certain selectmen that are getting done? Their terms are up?
Yes, well, I mean, there's two, I believe there's 2 spots open on the select board. I don't believe that John Goodrow is running again, and I think Carol spot is open, but she is running again. Tomorrow night, instead of our meeting, up here, there is a
Meet the candidates.
meet the candidates,
All right.
then there's a
You
potential.
should come with candidates, what's supposed to work with
I
it.
think at 6:30,
Okay.
yes.
I think that's what it's.
Well, I think as a constituent, you should always know who you want to write for.
Is that something new, have they always had, I mean,
Yeah,
okay. So I'm
I think it's great.
well, I heard of it, I said, are you bringing in like the governor candidates, because I never had candidates before, and they're like, no, it's all the town people. Oh. Cool. Okay. It's weird. So LD.
Wait and see you until. What time? And I think that's perfect.
Yes, no, I agree with you.
So LD 2173 is the state legislative vote around housing. There are some components attached to the note that says, Erica Bumpkin, that says Happy Wednesday. The Erica Bumpkin Happy Wednesday, I think might be your right hand, Don.
Listener?
I think that might be it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay. That's a note that she sent us a couple weeks ago that said, basically, hey, it passed. The state has given some new guidance around housing. In particular, they're trying to promote denser housing and more housing because of the housing shortage in the state. You can read the whole, you can go online and get LD, okay, 71, 273 and read the entire thing. However, the state of Maine under FOCA, which is Maine. Communities, name something, community assistance. Is offering planning grants to get consultant help to have a consultant take a look at our housing and living laws as ordinance, our. Probably your housing ordinance and see if it's compliant with the new legislation and recommend changes to that. You can apply for those grants until. I think next is. July 31st, 2026. Yes.
Says rolling basis, review on a rolling basis until July 31st, 2026.
Right. So if you say, hey, we want to apply for this, I'm happy to do that. Yes, to get off that, because I thought anytime we can get help, they have done a third party to look at the ordinance and say, hey, you should be doing this. That's great.
So all of these in blue, you can look at how to get more information on the funding and the grants.
Yes, yeah, I went to the website and looked at a few of those, I didn't go to every single. But and I didn't print them all up for you, so you can go online and get that, we've all got a copy of Erica's.
Yeah.
Email, because I forwarded that to you, that has a lot of things in it. I think because we are also doing a comp plan, I think this is all important pieces of that, because the state is asking us to do. More with, denser housing, like I don't know if our minimum lot size was acceptable under the new law or not. Or
Maybe it might be, isn't minimum of an acre? Here? Or
yes,
3
except
acres?
in the cluster housing, then it's smaller.
Okay, it's an acre, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or 40,000 square feet, which is under,
Okay.
I mean 40. Something, 40 something thousand square feet, isn't it?
So this would address like in-law or grandparent housing and stuff like
I
that
believe it does.
on the same law.
They're calling them auxiliary housing units or auxiliary housing something, AHUs. So can you add a little apartment on the back of your building or
Right.
turn the garage into an in-law apartment? I know they're promoting those kinds of things.
And you could do something.
And I think it's, we don't tend to be proactive in our ordinances, like I think all the work we've done in the last 5 years has been retroactive.
Yeah, just catch it up.
Yes, so I think it's
No,
exciting to
sure.
think about how do we stay on top of it going forward, because that's really the challenge. Otherwise, in 10 years, we'll be the same. boat.
Same. Only catch up.
If we could, you these emails.
Yes,
Okay, great. I saw some in the box later.
Yeah.
Because there's a video
yeah, and how to, the guidance stuff.
and FAQs and stuff.
So
Yeah, maybe you wanna go with who needs to then do it together.
So I'm moving Saturday.
And where you gallivanting to now.
I'll be back after Memorial Day. This is the job sitting that I'm doing. Jesse's in.
Big dog?
Little bit,
Okay.
little for big,
Yeah, no,
well, medium, I guess.
yeah, don't say.
They're not little, but I'm gonna be on those.
Like over 20 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was when I was planning on taking all the work that we've done in Word and putting it over to PowerPoint. Cause I had like 3 weeks of downtime, I've been like moving 6 cords of wood the last 2 weeks, So I won't be doing things like that. So my plan is to start moving the rest of our documents into PowerPoint.
Cool.
Before we go, I would like to, if we have to do on that chat, we should go together to make sure that that's what we want.
So I need PowerPoint for what presentation?
For presentation purposes and. Readability and,
The whole comp plan could be in that format.
Yeah, so, yes, And so we can use some of the functionality of PowerPoint to kind of bring forward, ideas that we really want to publish. It's just a nicer
Pick it up.
document. Yeah, so, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I want to make a list of pictures that we want and hand it to Purdy or everybody.
I
in
talked to
town.
her the other day.
Did you?
Yes, and I
Sorry,
said,
to interrupt.
yeah, I was at something else with her and I'm like, you got it? Yeah. Talking about that, she goes, oh, I'm really nervous. She said, yes, she'd be happy to contribute. For the company. That's awesome. We have, where we don't, we have general outline, we don't have a real format yet, but we will. Now, it might say, safety section one, right, the transportation section, we like one. She just, and she takes pictures of the day from all around them. Her archive probably, yeah.
It's a, and she's good. She's just got a great eye.
Will that be the first
So anyway, there's that I'm gonna work on. My plan was to zoom in for the planning board meetings. And I can't sit on Zoom and work with you in the working session meetings. Or maybe I'll just come in and show you progress of what I've done so far. Or up to that point. But I'll text you. And we can start a quick Zoom and handle it that way.
We can do that. I can set up, I got a personal Zoom on my computer and we just want to share, we don't necessarily.
Yeah. But I've got I'm gonna keep the documents out in the folders.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see us in the folder. Yeah. So I hope we can have most of that transferred by the end of this month. And then from that point forward, we'll just update. Her house. Where in Huntley, Illinois.
So along those same lines, I was talking to a woman named Carol Wilbur. She runs a business that makes some kind of interesting modular homes, but she's also doing a lot of affordable housing development in the Rumford area. She also is executive director of a group called Build Maine, and she also works with another consultant on running these community sessions that are all about getting everybody on board, select groups, a hearing from every group on kind of community planning.
Mhm.
And I said, this sounds really exciting to me for our comp plan. I said, how much people are on how this works and what you're doing? She said, you should talk to Vanessa Farr. So in your packet, you have a little packet here. I did call Vanessa Farr. We talked on Monday. They run what she calls charrettes.
It's the staple document.
The possible consultant with comp plan. Vanessa works for Haley Ward. Vanessa was also involved in, you guys have it?
I do.
Okay.
There it is.
Vanessa and Kara also worked with the state of Maine on suggesting some alternative planning methods, because they said this, emphasis on this inventory and this data, and all of a sudden is really missing the point of community development.
Yeah.
However, they made some headway, but the state still has the checklist, so I'm like, I'm okay with the checklist, but they run this 5-day workshop. And it isn't everybody all day for 5 days, but like they're set up in a space for 5 days, and maybe it's here, maybe it's the historical society or something. They set up this very intensive collaboration. And we work with them to design it. The design work, I think, is the hardest doing work together, right? Because you have to say, here's who we want, let's figure out which days those people can show up, let's schedule that charrette for those days. Blah, blah, blah. They have done work with Rumford recently. And part of that was Rumford's working on its 2035 plan, like you guys are so good. We're working on our 2004 plan. But they had, for example, the people working on their plan believed that the citizens didn't care like what style of housing went in, which was 100% not true. Right, so they got all these citizens to show up at these meetings, and they put out things like pictures of different styles of I guess I'm just gonna say apartments, right? Different styles of housing, what it could look like, and people very quickly coalesced to an agreement on, hey, we like this one, we don't like this one. We like this one a little bit less, but it's okay, but we really don't like these, right? So there was very clear direction that came out of these public meetings. they also, my understanding is that you can get, she can get state people to come to these meetings, so that some of this planning is like pre-approved.
Right.
As you move ahead, so that you're really advancing the plan and you come out of this with a much more tangible action plan. And are the steps to do it right up front, so it's not just a document, it's something that people have just waited. We had talked in any detail, because there wasn't any detail to share at this point, one of the things she did mention though was. The maps, and Erica keeps saying she has the maps, and I was right there, I caught the other day, and I shouldn't stop. Got them, but I will go back and get them, but or call the guy and see if he just wants like us. But I like transparencies, right, so you can overlay these maps, then you can say, here's the animal habitat, here's the.
There's the snowmobile trail system, and
Yes.
here's the,
They have all that.
here's all the land that the
Well,
town owns.
Epcot seem to have-
All these maps that we've been talking about.
I think Epcot seem to have our set of maps, like we had called the getting with habitat guy who's got maps, and. I'm not sure how they got to Epcot. But somehow she's got them, and she kept saying, I'll come and bring them to you, and I've asked before I can put them in the mail. I'll stop and pick them up, but if they're not the transparencies, which I think I'm gonna call them tomorrow and see if we can bring us the transparencies. Get those, because that's where
Yeah,
you.
that'd be great.
Because I think if you look on that map and even block in like, these are all the buyout properties, right?
Right.
This is the existing trail system, you can start
That's
to,
what I mean, you
if
start
you-
to visualize what your town looks like and where it can go.
yes,
So all the buyout and anything at all. Be developed on that.
yes, yes. You have to be careful, like the buildings can't be sure. Right, so you don't want a house, you can't have a house. But you can put, you put a big gazebo, it's elevated, so the water can go underneath it. So you could have town concerts.
Is that what I, the ball field, I think the huts, the food hut, or whatever, that's on, it's on two. It is on Canton, okay. Okay, so
That's not a buyout, but
so there's no percent for.
the field next to that, between the driveway to Frank Brothers, yes, and the ball field, that whole field, I think most of that is buyout, it's a big chunk of that.
So you can build, but you've gotta build.
No.
Yeah, be strategic in what you do.
Right, you can't like, you can't pave over stuff either, because they don't want impervious surface,
Right.
because you want water to be able to endure. Other towns have done, like town of Fairfield, I've looked at all their flood buyout stuff years ago, they built a camper. And you can run electricity, you know, it's all underground, and they've got special caps on the electrical outlet, so if they're submerged, they're fine.
Yeah.
So they built a camper. There's things like that. You know, and there's. I just think there's a lot of them.
I've always thought that the RV campground around here,
Oh,
It used to be.
with the lake and everything, it would be so good
I
to draw more
used to be.
businesses in and
Ooh,
just
can't
that down. Rolls,
that's
right?
where all came from there.
Next time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, so getting the maps is one thing, and
Yep.
she's not giving me a quote for her pricing, but I also talked to the MOCA people about. Planning grants. So they have these community resilience grants. Canton is a part of this resilience partnership. We committed, the select board identified a project over a year ago, and I think they're carrying out that project, and I don't remember which exact project they identified, I think it might have been. I know they want to tear down school. There's
Be a good idea.
there's something that was part of the flooding that happened. 2 years ago.
2
now.
years ago,
Right, that they're working with FEMA on that, I don't know, so I've asked a question about what was the project that we as a town, that we could do as part of the community resilience grant, and. Is it completed? If it's completed, can we apply for another one under that partnership? And if so, this is the kind of stuff you can apply for under the resilience partnership. When I didn't realize it was 11 pages until I printed it out. I'm making 5 copies.
Is this an already answered?
I can send it to you.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
But if you look at it, it's embracing the future of transportation, all about transitioning to electric vehicles. But I mean, some of these might be targeted from plan. Right, investment in public activity, shared transportation, modernizing main buildings.
That's a good one.
Decrease energy burden while transitioning to clean energy. Like, I don't know that you couldn't put some kind of solar on those things and feeds directly to like the town. The town itself benefits. I don't know, so, natural working lands, protect the environment, natural working lands and waters in Maine. Which is part of comp plan, right? So I think, building healthy and resilient communities,
Yeah.
that's the whole plan, yeah. So it feels like, develop a capital investment plan that identifies vulnerable municipal or private government facilities, prioritize resilience in improvements and or new construction addresses intersecting land use considerations. Like, this is all what we're gonna do with the plan. So could we use the community resilience partnership to get a grant to bring in these consultants to help us with this
Right.
process?
Yeah,
And I think that would work.
that would be great. I don't see a multi-week process, but a multi-day process.
Yeah, well, they said,
Just to be-
they said 5 days and
Yeah,
in 5 working days, right? So those, it may not be consecutive days.
Yeah.
It's scattered.
You were asking what it might have been used for before, was it the heat pump that was supposed to go in the firehouse? But that's listed in here.
Oh, that could be. That could be. I mean, I sat in the meetings and there's a lot of possible things. I just don't remember which name.
how did we get her name again?
Vanessa?
Yeah.
From Kara Wilbur, who's done affordable housing. She lives in Rumford. I think she bought the old mill and is fixing that up. And she's got.
There's just been a lot of like not great facilitators. So I just,
Second notes.
Oh, where there's colleges?
Yes, the college is renting some space.
Yeah.
There's community dental on one floor. There's a couple of people in there.
Okay.
I toured that years ago because it used to be owned by the River Valley Road Council. Had gotten it as part of a grant and was working on turning that back into an economic development generator. Excuse me, the top 2 floors have got those floor to ceiling huge windows. They all need to be replaced because it'd be like a sieve but it's giant ceilings, huge windows. Like, this would be the most beautiful apartments up here, or condos or whatever, right? And I think Kara's turning those into housing and the first 2 floors will be commercial.
oh yeah, nice.
So she's got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies. Not everybody's not necessarily thrilled about the housing and different stuff like that. But I just let the process, she and Vanessa together led the process at Rutherford. They also did one in Gardner, which I put on a page that describes what happened in Gardner. Which were these collaborative planning, because you bring the planning to stakeholders, community members to address specific land use, housing, and design issues. For example, we don't have zoning in the town of Canton, but we could, as a town, designate. This is an economic development zone, right? And that could have all its multi-uses. And that doesn't have to be restricted zoning necessarily, but designated as a growth area. Or this is our the old Main Street,
Yeah,
right? This could be our designated like beautification area.
Yeah.
Right, and we wanna work on. Making it safe, accessible to the lake. We build sidewalks that go all the way down the lake. Can you put in on the marshy side, can you actually get the approval to put in some kind of a pad and putting a permanent tree. In there. Or better parking or whatever. So I think there's.
That's all improvements.
I keep driving by there and
Nice.
every time I go by there.
So that was the garden piece. So this was the last page of that was the round 7 applications are now open for community action grants. Provide support for 2 categories of climate action at the community level. Action from the Community Resilience Partnership list of community actions, which is what that color people was. An improved list of climate mitigation adaptation activities that align with the strategies that may not wait. Other projects composed by a community that support capacity building, planning, and implementation projects. So I feel like we could apply for this community action grant, which is only June 5th. So this is a month away, basically. There again is webinar slide and the webinar recording. There's questions. I'm going to read up on this piece and see if there's a full tutorial you can get at one of those links, I just feel like this is something we should do. As a town, and again, we probably need to get on the select board agenda. At the next meeting and say, hey, the planning board would like to take a lead and apply for this, but it is a town application. It's like we're having.
For next Thursday?
Yes, so I'll send that to Kathy. Get that agenda. And I'll try to do research on this before next week, so we can come to it soon, talk about it.
That's, you're talking on applying for this?
Well, so this thing here says community action grant round 7.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right, and one of the links here said the things you can apply for are the things that are on this page.
Okay,
Alright,
guys,
so these
yeah,
things are.
yes, yeah. Which is not a bad idea. There's no limit to grants you can apply for, right? I mean, like if the town wanted to apply, the select board wanted to apply for something. And we're applying for something, or is it?
Well, I mean, we're all coming from the same town.
Yeah, so, yeah, I know, but there's a limit of funds, I mean, I know there's a limit, but I'm asking.
Well, I think this is the resilient, through the community resilience partnership. I don't know if there's another option other than this at this point. But Vanessa and Kara said they would also check, because they said, oh, Kara has some other grant monies available to her through. I don't know what source, but perhaps she could contribute that to this consulting planning process. And I haven't seen a proposal, so I don't know what this costs.
Oh,
So that was the third piece, was like, okay, so let's say we pull together this grant and that grant, and we're still short. Could we, as a planning board, approach the select board and ask for community development funds? It feels like this would be a very good purpose, because it's helping out. When in future.
I agree.
But I remember after that, it was snowmobile thing, I don't remember how much it was like. But I think I have.
You also look at the grant to improve some of the culverts around town. Like the one on Campbell Road, there's no way that's lasting 10 years, it ain't gonna happen.
That might be the one that was part of the FEMA grant, because that's where they had the problem, the flooding.
Yeah, and it's not gonna last probably another 2 years before it's completely destroyed again.
Yeah, we've got 2 on our road that.
Yeah.
Are getting into bad shape.
Yeah, so, and you can apply for grants to fix that, right through this. So.
Yeah, I don't know how many you can apply for.
Yeah,
Do this thing, I don't know.
I don't think about that's kind of important.
An endless number of contacts. That's what I'm,
For what?
seriously, she has an endless number of people.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. I'm like, hey, one day, let me hit you up. One day, a few months ago, I was putting out a file, and I found a business card, right, some lady, I'm like. Had her name, the business card will star next to it, I'm like, who the heck is this person? I put her number, so I called her up. Hi, I have your business card, I don't remember who you are, where I got your card, you want to save it for. She goes, well, they're talking, I'm like, oh, that's it, that's where I go. She does banners, like the kind of banners that hang over the railing at a stadium.
Yeah, yeah.
Gigantic big banners, kind of thing. I was like, that's funny. But we had a good laugh. So that was my bullet point, discuss use of consultant for townwide input and buy-in to take the action. What do you say?
So you're gonna go, the next steps on that are talk to,
Well, I need to get a proposal for how much it's helping to cost.
yeah, and then,
From a consultant. And then look into the resilience grant. And then see if we need to ask for funds from the community fund. The other thing I think is we've never asked the Tonella Solar Project, I think they would have been willing to contribute to a community fund on an annual basis, the life of the project. I don't know.
they go back and do that.
I don't know.
You know,
It's too late to do that, but I can certainly.
You mentioned that, in the
did.
meetings.
You
I know.
did mention it.
I know.
And nothing was forwarded, but he said that he did not have a problem with doing that when he was trying to get everything. Going, so I didn't.
So I will ask. Actually, I don't know.
What is that fund, what is that solar thing called, what's that solar fund called?
Community
fund.
The windmills.
Yeah, it's a community
Community fund.
fund.
Okay.
I think from also facilitating similar types of meetings for companies over the years, but I think we as a group will meet with people and say, because they said, and I was there, you see there's 3 steps to the
Yes.
process. I think we say, what do we want, what do we need community input on? Right, and like the first step might be to say, let's look at all these maps and let's designate. You know, broad brush, like, this is a growth area,
Right.
this is
Right.
where we think we could extend trails, like all the way, potentially all the way, you know. Around here, we want to have like significant trail system in.
Connecting trail.
Like from where the trails exist now, to the lake.
See, that would be wonderful, especially if you were putting them
Really?
I was just community.
down the road.
Yeah,
It would give them an opportunity now that we have the,
Oh, launch access.
even if we had camping, you know, do something decent. To camouflage it too, you know, like trees, some more, they're gonna go on to
They
trees.
cross the road.
It's not like they have to be on
yeah,
Okay.
If you go to Breckenridge.
Yeah.
So.
so I think. As part of the planning process, that was what you would include, instead of those kind of, what do we want as community facilitated meeting, you know? Want to make sure we have, because people have said, you know, should we have some? I don't know, do you need to regulate what you can't have, or do you say, here's our growth areas, and we want to emphasize growth in these particular areas? Which doesn't stop other people, like if somebody has a big lot and they want to subdivide it and put 2 houses on it. You shouldn't be stopping them necessarily from doing that, but. So trail system, like, you know, promoting recreation, you know, where would you put housing and commercial development, beautifying Main Street. You know, effective reuse of the bioland, right, those could be 4 or 5 major buckets right there.
I got a silly question. When the floods happened in the town, did the town acquire the flooded out properties? Where houses were torn down
The
in the floodplain?
So FEMA came to town after the flood in like 2003, right? And they said, hey, it's an opportune time for you to apply for a federal hazard mitigation grant. Which is national in scope and is competitive. And you have to decide what your scope is gonna be. But there was a group of people that said, oh, we wanna do it from basically, 140, like, rounds the corner of the dump, right, and the brook goes there, it's this side of the brook. Didn't go at this side of the brook. All the way down to the intersection here, plus some stuff down. Move on the lake. There's quite a few places on the right hand side that. Yeah, that little low road grade, and they had marks on the trees, like actual little placard on the trees, they were higher than the roof of the house.
Yeah.
So those houses were submerged.
Yeah.
And after the flood receded, people were in there.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them were really. Very.
And that side is where the brook would come up.
Well, Canton is amazingly flat, doesn't, you don't think about it there, it rises actually right. When you go past the curve, past the school and it kind of curves
Yeah.
over, there's a rise there,
Yeah.
a very subtle rise, so that the intersection here with the blinking light doesn't really flood. But everything west of that does, and the issue at that time with the nursing home was that the nursing home is completely blocked. Right, so all the exits
Yeah, you can't get anywhere.
is the only had exit on 108. Right, so the original subdivision plan where the solar is now would have given a backdoor access to the nursing home, so they wouldn't have, right now, they have to be backdoor.
Did they evaluate the last one? I can't remember, they were thinking about it, the one we just had. They were talking about it,
I think they might.
I thought I heard something about the thing.
where did they evacuate them to?
I think a school, just school somewhere that takes them.
Okay.
I mean, the fire department opens itself up for people who need food and shelter.
Here.
Yeah, that's not, obviously food. But, so. There was a decision that got scoped out how many potentially were there. There was a decision made by people to say, this is not eminent domain, so we're not forcing them to move. They created a process where they hired a third-party independent appraiser. Who is not from around here, and he specialized in like weird appraisals. Because he had to appraise it as if it was not in the floodplain.
Okay,
Because he had to give people some fair market value.
Right.
And how do you determine fair market value?
yeah, for something that's been flooded.
Yeah, and some of them had repairs done, and some people had no flood insurance, so they
Right.
couldn't repair, and the houses were just in.
Really
repair.
Yeah, very much. So that guy came around, did all his independent appraisals, and then people said, this is your independent appraisal, here's the offer. And this is not a negotiation, you don't get to say, oh, I think my property is worth more, like.
With the federal government, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is that
Some people
for,
tried that, right?
Well, yeah, one offense. But it was, and then if you choose to take this buyout offer, do you wanna stay in town?
Mhm.
Right, and then we can help you find another house in town.
Mhm.
Or maybe you just wanna take your money and do something else, right, cause some people had grandkids like in Bangor, they would sell their house with your Bangor. Other people had job offers elsewhere, so they were. So a number of people did stay in town,
Mhm.
and then the program then used, CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, which are funded to the state through HUD, Housing and Urban Development. We kind of pulled together those grants plus, maybe concept had some grants plus. Neighbor Savings Bank had some grants plus federal home loan making policy. There's a lot of patchwork quilting of. To help people stay whole, right? So let's say you were in a very poor deteriorated home. But you had no mortgage.
Right.
Right? You really we didn't want to put you in a home where suddenly you had this big mortgage. That's not really good.
Right.
Right? So can we get you into a home of that's decent, like, we're not talking mansions, but.
Right.
That,
livable.
right, but it's not going mortgage. And
Right.
so people who got some of that grant money to move into those homes, most of them have I think that is 30-year, for every year that you're in there, 1/30th or 1/10, depending which sort of money you use, right, it gets written off.
Oh.
So at the end of 10 years or 30 years, whatever, you now own your home free and clear. But if you try to sell your home after 10 years, let's say you still have another 10 years on your grant agreement. 50% of the sale value has to come back to the town. In that grant, so I just had 2 people who have sold their homes that were involved in that program, and the town's gotten that money back.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They put it in a community development fund, I don't know where they put that money to repurpose it for.
Right.
Ongoing housing, I don't know, but,
So does the town still own property that's in flood zone?
it owns the land, there should be no houses.
Right, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
houses.
Yeah, remember those ones we were gonna try to color in on our map?
Yeah.
So why couldn't we develop those for like campsites? Where you could put an RV?
You potentially could, right, but that has to be a community decision.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
do that.
Yeah.
And the town, I don't think as a town wants to develop, they've said many times, we are not in the development business. I do know that a nonprofit, has been formed,
How much do they want your taxes to go up?
well, I know that.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
I know that an independent nonprofit has been formed, with now a legal entity that can do that. And say, okay, here's. People with capacity can take on that work and help the town out. Do that kind of stuff. If that doesn't want to do it, they can do it.
Oh, yeah,
In conjunction.
yeah. But I mean, the idea should be put forth that something like that can happen. And there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have, a lot of campsites and stuff are in flood zones. Don't be there then. You know, it's that simple.
I just love the Girl Scout camp one night, and it flooded everything.
Yeah.
And I called Rick, can you come get like a dozen sleeping bags and take them to the laundromat, run through the garden, and bring it back, and I was like a lot of girls who were soggy wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was such a sweetheart.
But I mean, that's just a way to use town land to actually generate some
Well,
revenue.
it's one use, right? I think
Yeah.
there's, we
Well,
actually.
there's tons.
Yeah.
I went to FEMA and said, talk to me about lands all across the country that review these lands, let's see what other people.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I want to just read.
But it's like nobody's doing anything. You know, I've seen them sit there for a decade.
That's why we need to finish up.
Exactly.
So we can get moving on some things. When we finish up. For all of it. For all of your responsibilities. So.
Okay. So. That's why I do believe a consultant would be very helpful, because a neutral third party opposed things that. If any one person's trying to get out, some people immediately want to go, no. It's a bit personalities involved.
Personalities.
And third parties facilitate it. Yeah, exactly. Third reaction.
So how will we put the charrette plan in progress?
So I wanted to get a cost from, what that's gonna cost to do, number one, and then see if we can do something with the resilience grants. And then see if there may be any other community planning grants, like I'll try to ask Todd next week and see if there's something else from that talk that might be there. And then if we can say, hey, this thing costs. I'm just making the number up, I have no idea, $50,000.
Yeah.
And we've got 5,000 from here, 5,000 from here, and we use.
Yeah.
The remainder from community action. And this.
What did you call that?
Community action fund. The community fund.
Yeah.
The resilience grant.
Resilience, yes, okay, that's what I got.
So first it's,
I got
get
it,
the number from the consultant,
I got
how much,
I got that.
and then the grant, and then the select board.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a good way to get the community immediately involved in the planning.
Well, we did the original visioning, we had, pretty decent, I mean, a dozen people.
Mhm.
Which again is actually pretty good turnout.
Yeah, it is.
But
It's some fun.
that's been before COVID, so. Some of the people aren't even around anymore, right, so now and I think that when the rubber meets the road and people have to say, this is what we're going to do over the next 10 years. It takes on a different set of accountability. And I think people want to have a say in what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I've heard, I mean, I've been in meetings here where. People who are longtime citizens have said, we cannot keep going the way we're going, we can't keep raising the cost of municipal services against a citizen population that's mostly on a fixed income.
Yeah, and not increasing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, our population as a town has increased, we're back to pre-buyout levels. Which is something else I hear a lot of people say about, the buyout did this, okay, but we're back to the numbers of people pre-buyout.
Yeah.
And
So they recovered from that.
Yep.
We've recovered from.
now they haven't recovered in some ways, because they're not the people that are on the water and sewer.
That's what I was just gonna say that. People have come in but have built out. And a lot of people have built in the outskirts in Canton. It's in Canton. But they're on the other side, they can.
Correct, and so I think that's part of what this municipal planning was intended to do, is say, how do you optimize the number of users on water and sewer? How do you get housing and locations where you can leverage municipal
Right.
services more effectively?
Makes sense. So is there anything we need us to do to help you?
I don't know, if it's a particular thing. At some point, we'll have to figure out these grant applications.
Okay.
Maybe those.
Well, it's my helping, like,
Well, I'd like to see what I can find out, I'm gonna ask Kathy to get on the agenda for next week, and then hopefully get enough information to do something.
there's a plan on being at the meeting next week.
Okay.
We're gonna be back for the summer.
Oh yeah, this is my last trip. This is my last thing. I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting together with coworkers who I haven't seen since I was there, and that's about 3 years, really excited about that.
What's done?
Yeah, oh, and these are the birthdays I'm watching. I mean, come on.
How can you not love them? Oh, come home with me. Are you from higher?
They're angels,
Yeah,
but they're such good dogs.
Are there other topics to be added to the agenda?
I'd like to take the FOAA course.
What is
Which
that?
FOIA?
It's FOAA.
Yeah,
What does it stand for?
not avoid.
Oh, freedom of access act,
Yeah,
or freedom of information. I
they
think
call it, it's basically freedom of information, but they don't call it that. They call it FOAA. Here it is. It's on June 4th, it's just a webinar. I understand the concepts, but I would like to understand in detail.
Then, you need to email Kathy. The planning board has approved, well, has approved your attendance at that, and she can sign up for that.
Check. That's $40.
Yep, and that comes out of the planning board budget. So Daniel, are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, checking, did they always come back to the chairperson to ask if they would approve that expense?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's good if you have.
Yeah, I wanna, can we pull up the PowerPoint so everybody can look at it, so I want to be going.
I did not plug my.
Yeah, I got, we can look at it up in your list. So I'll have to hold around.
I can, oh, this is, well, if you have an HDMI port on the side of it,
Yeah,
the big one, that you can have this.
Yep.
You have to move
but
the,
I got, that you guys can see, right? You've already seen one.
Yeah.
So it's just a little. Well, okay.
Can you see that yet?
I've seen it before.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So table contents. I'll have this so you can click on the link and I'll jump you to the page if you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Electronically, but right now I just put them on there.
Mhm.
And so they'll have different chapters. Right. So. Vision, see, this is where I want.
Yeah.
I want things to be able to pop a little bit, right?
Like.
So it's not so boring to read. So, you know, I haven't gotten too far, but this is what I'm gonna keep going with. If you guys like it.
Highlights, made something in the paragraph.
Yeah,
So like, we don't know what the goals are yet, but.
right,
There's
Right.
Placeholders for formatting.
Yes.
yes. Agreed.
Done.
It'll be the best time.
Ever, in the office.
It was no problem.
All right. That was really more do you like formatting and written edit. This will be modified a lot.
Is that gonna be available on the
It's
site?
on the site. It's in a folder called PowerPoint.
Okay.
So I'm not changing anything on the existing Word documents. I'm kind of pulling and putting into chapters as I'm going.
We finished the housing one.
I will look at it. Oh, I have that one to reformat, but I haven't done with everything anywhere, so I'll do that. Remember? You did the one and now we're doing it.
Yeah,
And I'll do
yeah.
like this, I'll do it this week.
So which two are you doing? Because I think I went through one of yours and
You did it?
I did one of them. And it's not PowerPoint, but it just, like, it cleaned up some other stuff.
It was the first one I did, the very first one. On,
Let me
you
pull up
were
the
able to
Excel,
log that
I'll
stuff.
pull up the Excel document.
I did the other one, which was it?
Well, you did fiscal responsibility or something? Or-
Yes.
Maybe. I think I'm gonna find that, the economic development one. Yeah. Okay.
The last one I did was
Name
economic
is
design.
fiscal capacity and capital investment.
Has it been changed? No. What's
Just
that?
track at 75%.
Let me see.
Well, that's just the Excel sheet, right?
Okay, I don't know.
The other
It was the
one
first
was
one I did.
economy and economic development.
That's the one I upgraded.
That's the second one. I haven't looked at that.
What is, how much, what is that one at?
We had both of them at 75%.
Okay, so
The notes we said we could not have this as an earlier chapter with these two things together.
put them together.
Okay.
We put that in notes, I didn't want to have the two different things.
What are the two things? Economic development and.
Fiscal capacity and capital investment plan and economy and economic development.
those need to be two separate things, right? Or are you saying is economy and economic development two separate things? Or are you saying those? You can't put all four of those in one thing.
The note on the economy and economic development says we did not have this as an earlier chapter, put these two things together,
Okay,
question mark.
yeah. I mean, I think maybe
And then
that's,
the note on fiscal capacity says, we had this just as fiscal capacity, this may already be current. May already be current.
In that fiscal capacity, I'm just listening to when you were doing it. I think that was the first one, and then you did a lot of that when you were working on.
well, I took out the people section because we already.
Yeah,
Well,
right,
it was just a little paragraph that there's.
right, you did the people, did you do any other part of it?
I just think of the format.
Fiscal capacity, let's go. Yeah, I have.
Attention to edit and signing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I just made it look like all the other ones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Key findings at the top.
okay, so we're right here.
So I think that is,
Yeah. You did it.
and I found that some of these, like, these numbers were like, I just moved them to like 000, so that you can be with that in thousands.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fine.
It's those kind of things, those are good, like, editing.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever you wanna do. Works for me.
That made them all the same.
Yeah.
Type style, I think I updated some of these.
Oh, yeah, but
you had-
we reviewed those a year, I mean, at this point,
Right.
and highway equipment. We still need, I mean, this is a year old.
Right, so I didn't think it's been different.
Okay.
You could probably print that out when you did town office and.
I will, I'm gonna do that, I'll do that, because, you know, these numbers, it's the first ones we did,
So this was also,
not available back then,
right, so there's.
so I'll update all that. But the formatting is good, so I'll just print it off, take it to the office and see if I can set up that I have what with them. So you're gonna help me. Okay? Okay. So much easier if you just help me.
Yep,
Who would I talk, would it be Aaron or Kathy?
Aaron helped me with my stuff when I came in, he had access to that, but.
Well, he was doing the treasurer's role for a short period of time and then they hired a treasurer.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what actually.
Oh, who's in the treasurer?
No,
Oh,
she said, people go. No.
oh, so she doesn't live in town?
Mm-mm.
So I don't know who actually had access to dollar information. Not sure.
Okay, all right, well, I'll ask Aaron. Well,
I'm looking at the other one, it's the economy and.
yeah, we put that in that format with Robin and I did that,
Yeah,
Okay.
but you
now I'm
know.
gonna copy this to them.
Hey,
Well, and I feel like one thing too, we don't necessarily need all of them. You know, I mean, we can make it.
I feel like that's what I'm kind of doing as I'm going along, so we'll have the Word document. And then maybe we'll have a
you're gonna summarize.
more succinct.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut
Well, 'cause
out
that's
too
kind
much,
of what-
because it's important, right?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's
hard
hard
to
to
invest,
invest,
we're gonna need to know that, you know,
Right,
that's the point, we don't want to have to. Direct all that data.
Right.
Well, couldn't the PowerPoint just be? Just bullet points of what each paragraph is about?
I gotta sit and work with it some more. I've only got the mission, I've run as far as like mission, visions, chapters, stuff
That's a
like
lot.
that, so.
It's a lot.
So, yeah, that's my goal. I wanna come back with like a pretty full document.
Well, in the old,
In May.
in the old plan, which. I think I've given everybody a copy. Should have one, if not, if they might be in that. Shared drive.
Yeah.
Right, but there was basically a grid on the action plans, it said. You know, here's the action. I don't know if it had measurements and dates and timing, I don't think it went that far, but it was basically a big grid was the action plan, which kind of boggles your mind when you look at it. So I was liking the way you're going, you kind of said, we're gonna have, we don't know yet, maybe five major
Goals.
goals, and then in each of those, you maybe only have three actions. Because
Yeah.
out of those, you have to talk about fiscal capacity,
Well,
blah, 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 blah.
I was working off this document, right? This is pretty nice how they put this together.
Whose is that one?
This is out in Utah.
Oh.
But it's a similar thing, right? They had a.
I sent a proposal to them for a different piece of work, and I read their background document, before I sent the proposal, I.
And goals,
I
right?
just, yeah, that was
Right. So I was kind of going with this five. But also looking Belgrade too to look at.
That's what probably could use the picture, it's so pretty.
We have some beautiful lake pictures.
You do.
Station has a.
You take some beautiful pictures out of it.
It's good at my back.
We're lucky. We're lucky, that's the view that we have.
I do. Yeah, one day, we both was going with that, it was pretty bad, it was after the paper meeting. It's like we both went home and we're like, look at how pretty that is, like.
I drove home wicked slow, just admire it, but I see sunsets, I see sunrises. As the houses started raining, not raining. Aaron, no,
Sometime soon, but not good. I didn't have dinner with her a few weeks ago, and she talked about, yes, she wanted to build. Now, originally it's gonna be, she and her son were gonna build a house, he has since bought a house.
Oh,
So I don't think they're putting two on that property right now, I think it's putting one. But I don't know.
Yeah, they were talking to both of that, he's bought a house, he's not busy. Is he in Canton, or is he, no, let's do that.
That's all I had was, do you like the format and when I really was trained.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna send Kathy the April meeting out for the district for the 16th, so I'm just gonna. We actually, at the end of the month, we approved previous month, I sent it to. Cool. Anything else, Tom? The great retirement party last week for the events.
Oh, I saw it in Facebook.
Very nice guy.
He was down on over this building, Canton, right? David has, I
I think so.
going out towards the solar, the new solar.
I believe so. Can we officially adjourn or not?
Yeah, we can,
Who would like the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
second.
I'll give it Dawn a second because she don't say.
Okay.
Right.